here shortly. Because they're asking for rate increases right now based upon solar programs, which are the stupidest thing in the world, everybody knows. I would like to talk about how much I dislike recreational pot, or and I would love to add monopolies like utilities to the non-donor list for campaigns. And I'd also like to talk about the Veterans Treatment Court being defunded, and I think that your bills should be extended to the Midway churches because St. Sylvester is subject to that as well. Those are the three areas that were affected. And that would have been great, but for some reason I decided to talk about rural land. And I decided to talk about this topic because I am a long-time real property lawyer in the city of Pensacola, and I know a little bit about land use regulations, enough to be dangerous at least. So last year, for some reason, something was in the water in Tallahassee, and there must have been a dozen or 2 dozen bills proposed regarding rural lands in the state of Florida. Off the top of my head, I'm writing down 784, 1730, 529, 579. There was the 991 that created the Office of Rural Prosperity, which sounds pretty creepy to me. 1209 and SB 1118 that actually got passed and then it got repealed. But it was a lot of work to fight these. What they had in common was the destruction of local government contribution to land planning. For some reason, they wanted to move decisions regarding rural land to the city of Tallahassee and out of county jurisdiction, I suppose. But of course, we know that that is a bad idea and that local people are best equipped to address land use issues. And I hope that you will do your best to keep those bills from coming forward this time around. Because they're 88 pages long, and we do have to read them. Thank you for doing that for us.
Thank you, Sharon. Next, Kramer John. And on deck is Tom Warner, please. Followed by Andrew Starkey.
Good afternoon, Senator. Good afternoon, Representatives. My name is Dr. Trey McMullen, and tonight I'd like to talk to you about a rising threat that could potentially cause harm to Floridians. As we've seen it occur all across the world, it is the drone. I stand before you not only as a concerned constituent and candidate for Florida District 2 State Representative, but also as a global security professional. I am proud to be the only global security doctoral practitioner in the state of Florida. I have worked with institutions like the Port of Miami, helping increase their awareness and readiness against drone threats. I also hold a master's degree in emergency management and homeland security. I have served my country for a cumulative 6 years in Afghanistan and Iraq. Through my service and professional practice, I have seen firsthand the destruction drones can cause when they fall into the wrong hands. We've seen drones misused across the world, and technology is increasingly accessible. Imagine a Friday night football game where a disgruntled student using a 3D printed drone and a makeshift explosive targets another student. That scenario is no longer science fiction, it is a looming possibility. Such an incident would forever reshape sports, community gatherings, and our way of life. If we want to preserve the freedoms and traditions that define America, we must act now. We need to be proactive, not reactive. One of the proposals I bring forward is to require commercial businesses that intend to use drones for delivery services to notify the public. Notifications can be through radio, billboards, or flyers, depending on the level of drone activity. This is just one of the many policies I have in mind to safeguard Floridians. Keeping our communities secure, rebuild trust between the people and their government. We live in a time when trust between the people and their government is fragile. By acting with foresight and responsibility, we can restore confidence, protect our way of life, and show that we are prepared for the challenges of tomorrow. Thank you, and may God bless the people of Florida and the United States of America.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Tom Warner, and following Mr. Warner, Andrew Starkey, please be ready.
Good evening, gentlemen. I'm not very good.
You may want to just get a little closer to the mic.
Okay, good evening, gentlemen. Appreciate you taking the time to hear everybody talk today. We obviously live in a very chaotic world. There's a lot of energy that we see here today and a lot of different priorities. What I want to talk about today is Florida's regulated utility rate payers paying over 40% increases over the last couple of years. Historically, Florida relied approximately 75% on coal and natural gas utilities. Beginning around 2015, the utility providers began the conversion of its electrical infrastructure to solar. Given our current conversion rates to solar, we can expect to experience the electrical brownouts that you see in Texas now by the year 2030. That's in less than 4 years. The 10-year site plans of Florida's current utility providers, or 10-year plan, project over 90% of the new capacity additions to be solar. The conversion rate to solar will drive Florida to have only 35% reliable continuous baseload resources by the year 2045. That's a huge reliability boom. Additionally, the upfront costs are significantly higher for solar. Specifically, similar size output plants. A solar plant will cost 5 to 6 times more than a natural gas. A solar plant will require 200 times more land. That's significant. The output of a solar plant is roughly, in Florida, 6 to 7 hours per day. So you only have instantaneous power 6 to 7 hours a day. The rest of the time the sun's blocked or not at the right angles. And obviously when the sun's not at the right angles, the output of the solar is 0. It should also be noted that 90% of the hardware that our utility companies are proposing to purchase to install this solar is sourced in China. I have to sum up here, but the Florida Public Service Commission has made commitments to our utility companies that ensures a minimum of 11.4% return on capital spending. And that tells you why there's a motivation to install solar versus
Thank you very, very
gas.
much. Next is Andrew Starkey. And following Mr. Starkey is Brad Bishop, and he'll be ready, please, Mr. Bishop.
As Andrew Starkey, I'm the owner of a land surveying business in Pensacola. We offer services to Escambia, Santa Rosa, Okaloosa, and Walton County citizens. I'm here to urge your support for a bill of reform for surveying licensing. Bills have been sponsored as far back as 2011. Most recently, SB 320 by Senator Gates this year. I appreciate that. All of them have something in common. They've all died. I think it's time. It's true. We really got to get this passed. Let me give you a quick statistic. The population right now is 24 million in 2025. This is up from 20 million a decade ago. We have about 2,300 licensed surveyors. That is 1 per 10,000 residents. In 2015, we had 1 per 7,000 residents. This is not sustainable. We have to get this passed. There's been Texas and Kansas has recently passed legislation to allow alternative pathways. In doing this, they've offered surveyors to come in about 20% more. There's not been a lack of, what did they say here? They said, the National Society of Professional Surveyors stated that with flexible education requirements, they license 20% more surveyors annually with no increase in disciplinary actions. Why can't we get this done? I would appreciate it if you guys would maybe sponsor it again. I'm here to help. If you need to, I believe your aide has my information. Please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you again.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman, may I just simply ask, sir, if you would get with my staff, I'd love to connect with you. I chopped a lot of line as a teenager, interesting issues for me, but I'd love to connect.
I sure will. Thank you.
And now, Brad Bishop, please, if you're here. Brad Bishop. And following Mr. Bishop, Donna Woodard. If you line up kind of behind Mr. Bishop, we can save time.
Good evening, Senator and representatives, thank you for letting me speak tonight. My name is Brad Bishop. I'm the executive director of a nonprofit. It's a peer-led nonprofit with Escambia and Santa Rosa counties. We go into homeless encampments, motels, areas of high drug activity, and we establish relationships with people that are struggling with substance use and mental health. And we offer them resources for treatment. One of the ways we do this is by showing how much fentanyl is in our area, how it's contaminated in other drugs that people aren't aware that they're getting these mixed up. Last year we passed a bill that allowed fentanyl test strips to be legalized. Well, there's other things going on in our communities, according to the medical examiner's report, where there's people dying of other drugs that we're not so familiar with. The 2023 Florida Medical Examiner's Commission report shows that occurrences of deaths from synthetic cathinones increased by over 100%. In fact, Florida now leads the nation in deaths involving synthetic cathinones. Palm Beach County alone, deaths increased by 400% from 2020 to 2022. Xylazine, that's another dangerous adulterant, is spreading rapidly. In 2024, 72% of decedents with xylazine present were listed with it as a cause of death. Xylazine also comes with these horrific looking wounds that are like flesh-eating, wounds that cause loss of limbs. It's projected to cost the state of Florida $1.5 to $2 million over the next 5 years to treat those wounds. Right now, we're blind in Florida. We can't test for xylazine or cathinones. We can test for fentanyl. But the only way we're finding out about this is through the medical exam. And I think that's it's not even reactive. But I think that we need to be proactive. And so I put together a bill that, some language for a bill that would legalize test strips for cathinone and xylazine. And I am seeking sponsorship for that bill.
Please provide that to our staffs.
I have it.
Great. Thank you very much, sir. Donna Woodard, and then Chairman Perry Smith. Thank
You
you.
get it down to 3 minutes, so I gave you a speech too. I'm Donna Woodard, and I thank you for letting me talk to you tonight. I'm asking you to enact legislation that gives DVPR jurisdiction over HOA boards of directors and associations similar to the authority and jurisdiction they have over condo associations. I'm asking you to work to repeal the legislation that passed in 2018 that allowed HOAs to issue monetary fines for violations of rules they made up and never allowed homeowners to vote on, and those rules lead to foreclosures on properties. I'm asking you to enact some legislation that requires HOAs to allow homeowners to vote on the rules they have to live under, because right now there is no rule that requires the homeowners have any say. When a HOA is initially formed and the developer operates it, they operated under the covenants and bylaws, very minimal rules, because they want to sell lots and sell homes. But once 75% of those lots are sold, those homes have to go under homeowner control. And that is when the problem begins, because every board has pet peeves that they add to the rules. I brought a bag of a carrier to show you the rules I have to follow, but I don't have enough time to show them to you. But I just want you to know that there is no state agency having jurisdiction over HOAs. They do have it over condos. And there's no rule that homeowners get a vote in the rules, and worst of all is that you lose your homestead exemption protection, a sacred protection that if you buy an HOA, they can take your property for violations of rules they made up. So myself and others have been working to try to combat this in our HOA, and we filed complaints with DVPR, the state attorney, and the governor, and this is the answer we've gotten from all of them. Please be advised that there is not currently a state agency that has authority to investigate complaints against homeowners associations. We do not have jurisdiction. hire your own attorney. We tried to hire an attorney and we can't find one without a conflict of interest in Northwest Florida. In the last few years, 140 homes in my HOA have been foreclosed on for violations of rules and policies they never had a say in. And there's nobody to complain to, there's nobody to investigate. Remember the hammocks, all that fraud and abuse, homeowners had to come out of their pocket for $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 to prove what was going on. We need state oversight.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your testimony. Very sad. Mr. Chairman, thank you for being here. We appreciate you very much. Thanks for having us in Santa Rosa County.
Thank you, President Gates. And thank you, Representative Andrade, and you, Representative Boyles. Thank you for taking the time to be with us here in the beautiful city of Milton, right here in our county seat. And we greatly value the opportunity to share our priorities and work alongside you in service to citizens of the United States, Santa Rosa County. Kind of a blessing to be short when you're behind a podium and you're blind, and also traveling internationally. So I'm going to take advantage of this blessing, but these bifocals give me a hard time sometimes. Also want to extend a warm welcome to our newest member of this delegation, Representative Nathan Boyles. Sir, thank you for stepping up. And I want to personally thank you for bringing your business acumen and your talent to our small delegation here in the Panhandle. As a former commissioner in the area, I know you have a deep and intimate understanding of the challenges facing our county. And that being said, one of our most important principles is home rule. A government that remains close to the people, I believe, is the best form of representative government. We respectfully ask that you oppose any legislation that would preempt local governments from addressing the unique needs of their communities. In particular, we seek relief from Senate Bill 180. As you know, this bill uses emergency management as its justification to block the local and land development code changes until October 1st, 2027. Our communities need the ability to respond to the growth and the local conditions without unnecessary delays. We also strongly support maintaining full funding for state grant programs that have proven impactful across Northwest Florida. These include the Florida Defense Infrastructure Grant Program, the Job Growth Grant Fund, the Small County Outreach Program, and FDOT's 5-year work program. Additionally, we urge continued commitment to the Rural and Family Lands Protection Program, DEP's Coastal Resiliency Programs, and Florida's Recreation Development Assistance Program. And all the initiatives that protect water quality and strengthen stormwater management efforts. Each of these programs directly benefit our citizens and our economy and our natural resources. I want to sum this up real quick with saying it was great to see some of the stuff that we were able to accomplish with your help out there. We had our grand opening, our ribbon cutting for Leonardo helicopters just about last Thursday. Without a lot of the stuff that you guys were able to do for us, it would have never been done. I sure appreciate it. Thank you much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Rod Mitchell is the next speaker, and behind Mr. Mitchell, Mark Greers. And then Scott Markle. Mr. Mitchell, you're recognized.
Thank you. Good evening, Senator and Representative. We appreciate you coming over and seeing us here in our home turf a few days. I was born here in Santa Rosa County in Milton. I live here currently. I'm an attorney. I represent a couple of stakeholders out in the local protection area the county has out in East Milton. It's not Milton, it's colloquially described as East Milton, but it's far outside the Milton city limits. The thing I want to talk about generically here tonight is opposition to the proposed wastewater treatment plant and then request for funds to the city for that from the state. John Bowden of the University of Florida's Center for Environmental and Human Toxicology recently said that PFAS is likely to be one of the most significant pollution threats of our time. I don't think there's any question that that's the case. 2 times this week on local news, there is going to be national pieces on PFAS issues. Last night we dealt with sewage sludge application of farmland, and if you watched it, you get absolutely shocked. You've got farmers who are now, and families poisoned by PFAS. You've got land that's gonna have to be somehow rehabilitated, it's basically poisoned by PFAS now. You've got farm animals that are poisoned, you've got crops that are poisoned, we're eating that stuff. This is an issue that we can't simply say, let's just let them do what they want to out there, and maybe they'll figure it out, maybe they'll get it right. This is not the time to keep doing the same thing that we've done for 100 years, which is be reactive to everything, and we're not even particularly very good at reacting to those things. Mr. Clue was up here speaking to that issue with the lead pipe and the damage that was done out there. We simply can't allow that to continue to happen. I sent a briefing over, I don't know if you had a chance to look at it yet, but I know your assistants got it, and they said they were gonna provide it to you. The county has a wellfield protection area that their own geotechnical experts, and I sent you the report from 2011, said, hey, you gotta do some wellfield water modeling out here and see where your cones of influence are. You may need to add more property, because that was one of their baseline recommendations. Wasn't done. County didn't do it back in 2011. They didn't require the city to do it, and they asked for a conditional use of this wastewater treatment plant out there right next to the existing wellfield protection area. Somebody should have been looking at that, and nobody has. The city started trying to build a wastewater, the process of getting to building a wastewater plant sometime around 2009. That's been a disaster. The DEP basically has told them, you gotta get this stuff out of the Blackwater River, it's an outstanding floor of water, and you haven't done it. And so now we're at the point where they're really scrambling around trying to figure out something to do, and they want money from anybody and everybody to be able to do it. We cannot give them unfettered access to funds to basically do whatever they want with and keep doing the same things that have gotten us into the and with PFAS and pharmaceuticals and a number of other things, we simply don't address it in wastewater treatment. Thank you this evening for allowing me to.
Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is Mark Rears, followed by Scott Merkel. Like one more outburst like that, we'll have the police take you out. You got it? Go ahead, sir, you're recognized.
Hi, my name is Mark Hughes. I'm a resident of Gulf Breeze, and I work for Green Tech Renewables Pensacola, which is a solar and energy storage distributor locally in Northwest Florida. First of all, I want to thank the 3 of you for taking the time to come out and listen to all of us. I believe opportunities like this are an extremely important part of representative government. I also wanted to specifically thank Senator Gates for his PSC reform bill, and I would encourage you to continue to press this issue and combat utility overreach. I also wanted to stress the importance of continued growth in distributed generation or localized residential owned solar energy storage. The federal government is taking steps to remove access to key tax incentives for homeowners while leaving them in place for businesses and utilities. This has put the potential growth curve of home-owned solar and battery at risk. At the same time, Floridians are looking at the largest single utility rate hike in U.S. history. Utility companies continue to take the benefit and fail to pass it on to the people. These monopolies are able to act without meaningful competition and reduce require meaningful government intervention. I ask representatives and attendees to consider the long-term impacts of utility overreach and consider effective legislative legislation to combat. Requiring utilities to offer incentives for solar energy storage is one of the ways to these proposals, especially for Northwest Florida, where transmission is already an issue. This type of incentive can help combat the loss of 30% tax credit for homeowners, or strengthening and resilience both against natural disasters and potential foreign actors. It will help to offset the cost of the continued electrification of our society with the growth of EV cars and AI data centers. I'd like to reiterate the actions being taken by utility providers and the federal government will slow the growth curve, but it will only slow it down. Solar and battery are here to stay. The technology will continue to get better and cheaper. We as a state and as a country have to decide if we want to be part of the growth or fall behind the rest of the world. Utilities can either embrace the new way forward or continue to erode their share and maliciously inhibit the people's access to their only real competition. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Next is Scott Markle, please. And behind Mr. Markle is Nick, I think it's Radio. And then Leah Harrison. Mr. Markle, your recommendation.
My name is Scott Markell, and ULAP. Thank you all, first of all, for allowing us to speak. And, first of all, I spent 35 years with the 911 center. I spent 15 years with firefighters. So I am a first responder supporter and always will be. What I will not support is the, probably the unfettered spending of our tax money through this fire district. When this was announced, my mother's taxes went from $50 a year to $250. My sister's went from $230 to $459. My uncle went from $49 to $542. I've got friends that have gone double, triple, quadruple their tax burden. Okay. While I appreciate what you've done for the churches, what I appreciate you've done for Mr. Haggard and for Sterling Fibers is to go just a little bit further and extend to the taxpayers that were just hit totally out of the blue by this. My tax burden this year will be $350 approximately for my property taxes and everything. $250 of that will go to the fire department. I live in a less than 1,000 square foot home. Somebody living on the value of $1 million home is going to pay $250. I'm paying $250. It just doesn't seem to equal out. But if this is how we can do it, and I do appreciate the work, I think this is a starting point. Back in September of 2024, I went to the Avalon Fire District meeting, asking them and gave them figures, which I have plenty of, showing them how they could take this tax and go to, say, $150 and slowly increase from there to the $250. But instead, they went ahead and maximized and went straight across the board and full $250. So by giving the relief that you've given, that's fine. Problem is that these people that were paying $40, $50 are paying $250. They're still gonna be paying $250 with this, which is written, if you don't write something in there that will lower that maximum that they can charge, because now they're gonna get another 2.5% from the next year, and the next year, and the next year. So they really haven't lost anything other than the churches and some of the other larger buildings. So I was told in the September 19th meeting, it's $250. I had to have that in by July, and that was a lie. They lied to me and they lied to the taxpayers that were at that meeting when they said that they had no choice, that they had to have
Mr. Markell. And next, Nick, Radio. Next, Nick, is it Radio? Radio. Which way? Radio. Radio, I was right the first time. You're up, and then following Ms. Radio is Leah Harrison. Please be ready, Ms. Harrison.
First, I want to thank each of you for being here tonight, giving us the opportunity to come speak to you. I'm very as I mentioned before. Our board's heard quite a bit from our residents, and specifically advocacy from the church community as well as the veteran community. It has been challenging to address the changes, but I do feel like we're seeing strong support from our residents and still support the growth of the department, and as we're moving forward. That said, the new language addresses the issue for churches and some issues for the commercial factors. It doesn't address any issues for previous exemption for veterans as well. And the only reason I mention that is if we're going to work on these things and try to, it's normal. We make a change, we collect feedback, we see what the community really wants to do, and then we go to work again and try to make some adjustments here and there, and that's fine. But if we're gonna make some changes, let's figure out what those changes need to be and try to knock it out and get it done for the most part. Some recent conversation, back up here. But the $250 cap, for PACE specifically, I'm not gonna speak about Avalon or Midway, but for PACE, working with the property appraiser, some preliminary numbers, implementing the changes that are being proposed, and with us moving from 150 days to the maximum, would still produce a $500,000 to $700,000 deficit, in our budget. That would be a detrimental issue for us, for sure. Again, as the coming days, the days roll forward, the weeks, we'll be able to nail down those more specific numbers. But I do know that preliminarily, that's a massive issue. Going this route would, reduce the tax rate, let's call it what it is. It would end up creating a significant tax cut for the more affluent residents in larger homes, and it would cause an increase for the more impoverished or those that choose to live in a smaller home. That's what would ultimately end up happening here. So that's just something that I think is important to be upfront about, as we move forward. And what this means for us specifically is that it's gonna require us to need to work closely together with you to implement creative measures to prevent detrimental loss of budget revenue. The PACE community has a growing demand for the many services that we provide. We are already a bit of a loss in trying to determine mechanisms to allow for the growth needed in the future. These proposed changes would further complicate those goals, simply making them unattainable. These proposed changes could jeopardize service levels and prosperity and livelihoods of our firefighters. They deserve to have security in their jobs and their careers. So, again, I look forward to working with you in the future in the coming weeks and months. I think we can get there. I do appreciate the conversation yesterday. I think it was outstanding. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next is Leah Harrison, and following Ms. Harrison is Ryan, and then Cindy Hall. You're right behind us, ma'am.
Representative Andrade, thank you both for your continued support of the work that we do at Children's Home Society. Representative Boyles, we are so excited to have you. Welcome. So at Children's Home Society, I represent the 5-county area. And we are a statewide organization. We do have 14 programs just in this 5-county area. I'm here to talk to you guys about one, and I bet you can guess, the community partnership school model. We do have 5 of those in the 5-county area, 3 in Escambia County, 2 in Bay County, but we don't have one in Santa Rosa County. So first, I want to say thank you to both of you for your support this past year. Your support allowed us to continue to have the reoccurring funds so that we can support these children and families in the way that we have been. Now, this year, we're asking for an expansion, and the reason I was so excited to see where this meeting was tonight is because you can walk right across the parking lot and you will be at Rose Elementary School. For the past year, we have been meeting, I don't know if Mr. Harrell is in the room. I know Superintendent Barber is in Orlando at a meeting. But we have been meeting with them along with Principal Reeves, who is the principal of Rhodes, and they are very, very interested in implementing a community partnership school there. The first time I stepped foot in that school, those teachers are so passionate about the work that they're doing, but they are overloaded with behavior issues in the classroom. And that's part of what this model does. We have 4 core partners, CHS being one of them, University of West Florida being our university partner, obviously the school district is a core partner, and then a healthcare partner. Community Health Northwest Florida is our local healthcare partner. And what we do is bring the services into the school so that the kids have access to things like healthcare, mental health care, dental health, but we also infiltrate activities for parents to become engaged in the school, because we know if parents are more engaged in the school, the kids are going to do better. And I don't know how much longer I have, but recently, so we have 50 community partnership schools across the state. One of the ones in Escambia County, CAY's Elementary, has been there for 10 years. And so we have this data point that I wanted to share with you guys. Kids at our community partnership schools have experienced 46% reduction in interactions with the child welfare system. And at CHS, it is our job to make sure that kids are protected and they can grow up safe and healthy. And this program helps us do that. So we are coming to see you guys in Tallahassee. We would love to have you out for a tour of one of our community partnership schools. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Shonda Ryan.
As Senator before Ms. Ryan comes up,
We extended to give everybody 3 minutes. So we can have that, not so far, unless you want to propose one.
I was just looking at 15 minutes and about 15 speakers left.
Two, tourism and small businesses, and three are natural assets. And your partnership is crucial to each of these pillars. As we look ahead to the next session, we are eager to collaborate with you and our friends across Northwest Florida. Our shared goal is to improve the quality of life for everyone who calls this area home and to ensure it remains the best possible place to live, work, and visit. We believe a strong, vibrant community is built on a healthy business climate. Together, we can tackle challenges and seize opportunities. The Chamber and the Navarre business community are ready to be your partners in this important work. We look forward to continuing this conversation and developing actionable strategies that will shape a prosperous and resilient future for all of us. Again, thank you. Our wish is for all of us to have a very successful 2026.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Next is Cindy Hall, and following Ms. Hall, Shannon O'Connor. Ms. Hall, you're right here.
Gentlemen, thank you. I so very much appreciate it. And we have this opportunity to come face to face with you. If I'm speaking, it's probably about elections. I wanted to share with you that when I worked the elections before 2020, at the end of every night, we had to take the paper ballots and we had to count them. It was absolutely necessary that they match the number of tests that was on the tabulator. That was our verification. In 2020, that was forbidden. 22 and 24, it was reinstated. But in 2020, when I worked that election that night, and we shut down the analyzer, I saw 3 rounders pop up on the bottom. One of them was Lisa's. And it said hit transmit. So when people try to tell me that those machines are not hooked to the internet, I don't believe them. My sister, living in a different state, not Florida, but she works at a church, and the church gives the election folks the password to the church Wi-Fi. I don't trust these machines. I'm here to speak to you because I really feel like my vote will not count unless we do hand-counted paper ballots. There was a gentleman who came to me and he had crunched some data, and this is what he saw. This number down here on the bottom is anytime you see a 101%, that's gonna throw a red flag. So he started digging. The information that he dug out, he shared with me, and I could see what most people couldn't see looking at the numbers. So all I did was make a picture of it. And this is a picture of your county. This is Santa Rosa County, these are precincts, and these are the number of votes. These are 3 different elections, and you can tell who it is. So this is normal human behavior. We all pretty much come out and do about the same thing. These 3 lines basically sit on top of each other, and the points that don't match, they're just a little bit off. let's look at something else. This is what he was seeing. This is a graph of the same, these are your precincts, these are the votes, and what you will see that in previous elections, the blue and red lines are normal human behavior. But this gray line, when calculated, it's almost consistently somewhere between 29 and 30% above, consistently. Gentlemen, I would attest to you, this is an algorithm. I don't trust the machines, and I know President Trump is starting this initiative to get rid of the machines. I'm just asking you. My forefathers died, and some of them suffered, so that I, all these generations later, could only hear one whisper of a vote. My vote is one of just, it's diluted, and I take it personally.
Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate your testimony very much. Feel free to leave that material if you'd like. Chairman O'Connor. Following Ms. O'Connor's, Helen Willoughby.
Good evening, Senator Gates, Representative Andre, and Representative Boyles. I'm here tonight to talk about what I represent. I'm the Executive Director for Safe Connections Family Visitation Center. We are currently in Okaloosa County. We are currently in Walton County as well. I wanted to bring the attention tonight that I was coming up here to talk to you about appropriations. But really what I want to talk to you about is I'm trying to get a center here in Santa Rosa County. It is a desperate need. We service Santa Rosa County. We have referrals that come from Santa Rosa County to Okaloosa, but we don't have the service. I heard Ms. Sherry here talk about their children not being able to see each other because DCF has a wait list. There are times that we do have a wait list also, but we're here to take those cases so our kids are not suffering. So last year in 2024, we provided 1,632 supervised visitations, 37 monitored exchanges. We are steadily surpassing that this year for 2025, which speaks to both growing demand and effectiveness in our service areas. These families are our constituents and they rely on the safety and stability of healing. I respectfully request your support the expansion and sustainability of our Family Visitation Centers, specifically for funding to cover key positions that are not supported by existing grants that we have, to support hiring and retention of our new visitation center currently in development in Santa Rosa County. This project directly supports Florida's priorities, which is protecting our children, reducing domestic violence, and strengthening our families. It also helps reduce the strain on law enforcement and the courts by preventing conflict during custody exchanges. Although Safe Connections is a nonprofit organization that provides court-ordered, community-based services, we consistently face funding cuts, both at the local level and at the judicial level. These reductions threaten our ability to maintain our staff and meet our growing and expanded services, such as Santa Rosa County. I urge you to support us, which Senator Gates you have, and I'd like to continue to have that partnership going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next is Helen Willoughby.
Sir, she's not able to attend.
Okay, Ms. Willoughby is not here, but I believe we have Matt Brown and then Edwin Henry, please. Mr. Brown.
Hi, how are you?
Very well, sir.
Thank you for letting me speak tonight. I'll make this real quick. 2 years ago, House Bill 1575 was introduced. While we didn't agree on every detail, we all agreed on one thing. The study prepared by the University of West Florida for the House of Representatives clearly showed that Avalon Fire District needed additional funding to improve services to our community.
Could you speak a little closer?
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that a little better?
Yeah, yes, sir.
We did do that additional. We hired 2 new firefighters. We purchased a new apparatus. Now that that funding is at risk, if this bill moves forward, we'll be forced to cut that staff and critical equipment, decisions that would be detrimental to the safety and effectiveness of our district. For perspective, 25-26 budget is $2.1 million, which includes all sources of revenue. This bill would reduce by 31%, approximately $672,000. The level of reduction would severely impact our ability to respond to emergencies and protect the people we serve. We ask moving forward that we help you come up with a solution that works for the community and for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Steve. Edwin Henry, and following Mr. Henry, Jason Boatright. Mr. Henry. Going once, going twice. Mr. Boatright, and then following Mr. Boatright, Ken Schneider.
How you guys doing? It's weird for me being on this side of the podium, but I'll do my best with it. First, I want to sincerely thank you for holding this delegation meeting. Meetings like this reflect collaboration, and collaboration is the heart of what it takes to build a strong community. A strong community is what we have. And as many of you know, my passion is serving veterans. I myself was a veteran at one time who had a difficult, very difficult time navigating the VA. So I just want to throw out a few things just to let you know. Within the Gulf Coast Veteran Healthcare System, we span 5 facilities across 3 states. Currently, we have 115,000 enrolled veterans, and that number is counting. Our most utilized facility is the Pensacola facility, of which out of that 115,000 veterans, 36,000 are enrolled, and that clinic enrolls between 10 and 15 new veterans every single day. Many of them are right here in Santa Rosa County, and I can attest this week alone, I've enrolled 5 just in Santa Rosa County. So Santa Rosa County in Northwest Florida, we're blessed with tremendous resources for our veterans. And we have the growth, and we see the growth in our area. But with that growth is not bad. What comes with growth is responsible planning. That's what's essential. I urge you when considering funding for local support to look at the 2 local VSOs we have in Santa Rosa County, and the American Legion Post 78, and the VFW Post 483. These individuals and organizations are the front line in helping veterans navigate their benefits, but they are stretched very thin. Helping a veteran, you have to have a special heart to do it. And what our community needs, it's not just quantity, it's quality available support. Our area needs your backing to expand these services that have been built and sustained through years of diligent work. We already have the knowledge and commitment to improve the quality of life for the individuals who raise their right hand to serve, and now we just need to expand those resources to match the need that is available. So, again, I want to thank each one of you for what you do. I know you're new to the arena, but hey, we're glad to have you. But Northwest Florida really does appreciate what you guys do, and especially to you, Senator Gates. You know, I owe a great deal to your son, Matt. I would not be here today serving veterans if he didn't believe me in a time I didn't believe in myself. And that faith changes lives, and I definitely see where you got those characteristics from.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ken Schneider, and then Tony Buscemi. Major Schneider.
Good evening, and thank you. My name is Major Ken Schneider, United States Air Force retired. I'm here today on behalf of many vulnerable citizens in Santa Rosa County who have been impacted by the passage of the fire tax bill. Specifically, 100% disabled veterans, individuals with disability, and certain military widows. As you know, these laws removed the ad valorem taxing authorities in 3 fire districts in Midway, Pace, and Avalon, and replaced it with non-ad valorem assessments. Through a public record request, the Santa Rosa County Property Appraiser Office provided me the following data. Individuals who were previously fully exempt under the law, commitments the state has honored since 1957, have now received tax bills showing annual assessments between $300 and $800. This includes 1,330 total and permanent disabled veterans, 25, 100% combat wounded, 101 military widows, 4 surviving spouses of first responders, 9 quadriplegics, 8 totally blind individuals. Can you imagine handing these protected classes a bill they were previously exempted for? These exemptions represent a long-standing promise to protect disabled veterans and citizens with the greatest hardships. Their financial loss appears to be an unintended consequence. As nowhere in the staff analysis, the economic impact statement, or the subcommittee hearing was this issue ever disclosed or discussed. Representative Boyles, I want to thank you for listening to your constituents and leading the effort and making adjustments in other areas of these 2 of the 3 bills. I hope I can get on your schedule, because if we can also restore protections for 100% disabled veterans, individuals with disabilities, and veteran widows, that would be a tremendous win for this community. I have some handouts for you guys as well.
Thank you very much, Major. I apologize, sir, if I messed your name up. Thank you. Thank you very much. Please correct me about your last name.
You know, that was funny, because Steve Buscemi just had an article in the newspaper about that very same comment about, is it Buscemi, it was Buscemi, anyway, that's why.
What is it?
It's Buscemi.
Buscemi.
My mother
I stand
said
corrected.
Buscemi.
I stand corrected.
Well, I want to thank you for this opportunity to speak to you tonight. First, I'd like to start by saying that I am not against development. I am for development, and so am my neighborhood. And we want it to be executed both responsibly and lawfully. We feel that the role of state and local government is to ensure that land and project development is done responsibly and lawfully. Besides the comments that were made earlier by Mr. Coe about Bayou Murat, I'd like to speak about a specific situation at 1638 Joybrook. Here we have a 12.5-acre lot that has been undeveloped and vacant, but because it is a classified wetland and serves as a stormwater drainage from north of 98 to the south, and I handed you the handout, take a look at it. This wetland has been an integral part of the stormwater drainage for the entire area, Ivory Gardens, Sound Haven, Magnolia Village, Magnolia Gardens, up to the medical center and to the neighborhood Walmart. In addition, this property sits adjacent to the Gulf Island National Seashore. In 2022, the property was purchased by a developer. Since then, we have experienced a destruction of the natural creek that serves as our stormwater drainage, contamination of the creek, destruction of wetlands, destruction of wildlife habitat, all while being performed by an unlicensed contractor who has no building permits. How does this happen, and how did we get here? I've lived in Santa Rosa County since 1997. I've worked within the school system during this county's most explosive growth and understand the challenges that come from growth. However, it wasn't until I started researching this project that I realized that developers are largely left unchecked and very little accountability as they develop and look for the lowest cost to develop land and turn it into huge profits. To be specific, at 1638, there are numerous fines prior to the destruction, the ongoing destruction, that are left unpaid, and new fines mounting up to almost $1,000 per day. How does this happen? In closing, I'd first like to thank you for your time and consideration of our request to have a conservatory in this 12.5 acres put into a conservatory, because current legislation only allows DEP and the Northwest Florida Water Board to only buy lots of land that were up for 25 acres. We have an integral 12.5 acres that needs to be put into a conservatory, and let's hold the developers accountable to ensure that they develop Santa Rosa County responsibly and lawfully. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next is Patty Burke, followed by Chris Dosa. Ms. Burke, you're recognized.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing me to speak. I wanted to talk about.
Would you bring the mic a little closer to your mouth, ma'am?
There we go. Is that better?
much, Beth.
All right. First of all, Florida Power and Light. The citizens in Northwest Florida have experienced significant increases in their utility bills since Gulf Power was sold to Florida Power and Light. They brag about being recognized that they, as an FPL, is recognized as being one of the leading utilities employing solar power. While we, of course, are in the Sunshine State, solar power would not be experiencing such a large investment were it not for significant government incentives. Investments in renewable energy like solar are then passed on to consumers through the cost recovery clauses. At a minimum, public utilities should be required to give a breakout of the cost per kilowatt hour for each fuel source, be it solar, wind, gas, coal, etc., to the Public Service Commission. In addition, the public utilities should also be required to break out the amounts in dollars of the incentives they receive or benefit from for their capital investment in renewable energy, and these, again, should be given to the Public Service Commission. In their 2024 annual report, they claim that their operating revenues include amounts from their base rates. Number two is cost recovery clauses, then franchise fees, gross receipts, etc. So based on the way they've written that, cost recovery is quite a significant amount. And when I was looking at their cash flow statements, it's around 20%. Now they actually it's 22% for 2024, but it was combined franchise fees and the cost recovery. They expect in the next 4 years to invest another $120 billion in renewables. And of course, they're going to be passed on to us. And I personally have solar panels. My bill is about $30 a month. So this is not about me, but I'm hearing people that are significantly impacted by this, and we need to do something about it. Secondly, Medicare Advantage plans. Recently, I met with my primary care physician. As usual, we discussed politics first. She's also a friend of mine, and then we get to my health. So she shared with me her concern about the Medicare Advantage plans and that they should be held to a higher standard or be eliminated altogether. Signing up for Medicare is complicated, as evidenced by my indirect experience of my husband, who is a retired professional engineer. So he's not the average person signing up for Medicare. Seniors are being caught off guard when seeking medical care when they discover they have to fight with an insurance company to receive the care their provider deems necessary. In some cases, the seniors don't realize that they have
Thank you very much,
insurance
ma'am. I
coverage
really appreciate
and not
your
the federal
testimony.
government.
Mr. Joseph. And following Chris Joseph, Christina Forrest. You're recognized.
Good evening, Senator Gates and Representative Brian Polk. I'm here tonight. First, I think I need to preface my comments with the recognition of a tragedy that occurred September 10th, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. He was an American hero. He didn't die just because he had used the freedom of speech, but because people were actually listening. And I hope that you all are listening tonight. My commitment to our country started with my enlistment in the Marine Corps. I spent 10 years on active duty. 35 years ago, I flew with my squadron, led 10 aircraft across the Atlantic Ocean onto Arabia. I left my son at 2 years old and the other one at 3 weeks old, not knowing whether I'd come back home. Well, two of my sons are now currently Marine Corps officers. One of them has left service recently, and one of them is currently in Quantico, Virginia on active duty. My name, Chris Joseph, chrisjoseph.com was my web address that I used in an election back in 2016. In 2018, your son directed his then communications director, Luke Ball, a distinguished graduate of Pensacola Christian College, to secure that name because I didn't think I was going to run for office then. And over the last 2 years, they've connected, and this is the thing that's most disturbing, because Charlie Kirk was killed by a sexual deviant. And I know, and I'm very pleased that you wrote that letter with regards to the Sanger Theater, because I don't think our community is accepting of sexual deviancy. But they connected my name, my family's name, my son's name, to an application called Grindr. Now, most people in this room probably don't even know what Grindr is. But a Grindr is a resource, an application that allows sexual deviants to get together. My wife and I have raised 8 children. My sons and I have spent over 30 years in active duty service to this country. So my appeal, my very simple appeal, is that that name be returned to me, that connection to Grindr be immediately removed. And I know, because I've been told, Senator, you're a man who can get things done. And I'm confident that you can get that done. And I don't think that I and my family and our good name should be thrown around the mud in this fashion. Let me finish with this very quick quote. This is from May 12, 1962. General Douglas MacArthur. Duty, honor, country. Those 3 hallowed words reverently dictate what you ought to be, what you can be, what you will be.
Thank you very much.
What you will be. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Christine Forrest. Ms. Forrest.
Hello. My name is Christina Forrest. I live here in Navarre, Florida. I work as a technician in a private clinic here in the Panhandle. My concern isn't always for the patients we are able to see, but for those we can't see, those without insurance or those who are underinsured. Here in the Florida Panhandle, we see firsthand what it means to fall into the coverage gap. A mother in Milton works 2 part-time jobs, but neither offers insurance. She makes too much for Medicaid, but not enough to afford private coverage. A veteran in Crestview struggles to get the care they've earned because without Medicaid expansion, options are limited. A rural hospital in Mariana right now is on the brink of closing because it's drowning in unpaid care. So many of our rural hospitals are at the same risk. These aren't abstract numbers, they're our neighbors. There are co-workers, there are people who keep our communities strong. Expanding Medicaid would bring billions of federal dollars back home, help keep rural hospitals open, and make sure that no family has to choose between groceries and a doctor's visit. Florida's Panhandle families deserve the dignity of health care. Please, expand Medicaid. Give real folks that live and work hard a fair chance to live healthy, productive lives. Brian Stevenson of Equal Justice Institute stated that the opposite of poverty is not wealth. The opposite of poverty is justice. Let's talk about what that means. Justice, not only charity or wealth. Usually we think about poverty in terms of lack of money, lack of resources, lack of opportunity. The idea here is that simply giving more money or resources, wealth, is not enough. True justice involves changing systems, the laws, the access, the policies, so that people aren't left out in the first place, something each of you have the power to do. Healthcare as justice. In the context of Medicaid expansion, this quote underscores that making sure everyone can access healthcare isn't just a matter of compassion or economics. It's part of what justice requires. When people are locked out because of how the system is built, underinsurance, high costs, geographic barriers, that's an injustice. Our responsibility as a community and state, if we believe in justice, is that the standard we hold ourselves to. And we must ask, are we doing enough? What are we doing that allows people to suffer or go without care? Expanding Medicaid is one tangible way to align our laws and systems with justice to make sure no one is punished by poverty. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I'm pleased to tell you that Arthur H.A.U.C.K. Howe.
You got it.
Is our final speaker. And we're for you.
You did it.
You got 10.
Do I get an extra minute?
No, you don't.
Arthur Houck, Avalon Beach, Moolot Bayou area. I bought a beautiful piece of property, and I'm sure you've all seen pictures of Moolot Bayou, I hope, maybe not. And it was the most beautiful thing I ever seen. I caught 10 different kinds of fish there in 2015, and I bought the property because of that. A year after I built it, the whole area was destroyed. Okay, over 50 tons of clay came washing down, killed everything in there. Fish, turtles, and every type of wildlife was gone for a whole year. A year later, there's still grasses dying in front of my house. It's a major deal. It's disgusting. It smells. Not only that, well, I'm going to read what I have here. I'm here to express my concerns regarding the environment destruction at Avalon Beach and Moolot Bayou, specifically the devastation of the wetlands, unauthorized clear cutting, and ecosystem damage adjacent to my residence. On September 16, 2024, the waterway in front of my home was severely impacted, resulting in the destruction of wetland grasses, fish, turtles, and wildlife habitats. I reported this incident along with 13 subsequent incidences of destruction to code enforcement, the Department of Natural Resources, Water Management District, Health Department, and County Commissioners. Unfortunately, my efforts were met with excuses, interdepartmental blame shifting, and a lack of accountability. With the phrase, "not my department," uttered over 20 times, yeah, I counted them from each person, wrote their name down too. 1 year later, no individual or entity has been held responsible for this environmental disaster. Furthermore, I have been subjected to sewage odors due to an improperly permitted septic system, which was installed despite being in close proximity to the waterway and wetlands. The drain lines are actually in the wetlands, in a waterway that flows in front of the house. Upon notifying the health department, I was directed to contact DEP despite having already done so, and being informed that they would not take action due to the system being permitted, even though I told them it was illegally permitted and showed them it was illegally permitted. So I'm seeking accountability not only from the government and developers responsible, but also from those who failed to act in protecting of our community and the environment. What measures can be taken to prevent such incidents in the future, and how can we ensure that this county upholds its policies, procedures, codes, and laws? Now, I'm with Save Our Wetlands. I moved here to retire, but now I'm here in Florida to save our wetlands because that's what
Thank
needs
you
to be
very
done.
much, Mr.
Thank you.
Howard. Thank you all for being here. I wish that every delegation meeting could be this well attended and have as many people speak on issues that matter to them. I think all of us have learned a great deal tonight. I certainly have, about issues that matter to you. Notes have been taken, and hopefully you'll see some response. Sometimes, as my pastor always tells me, sometimes the answer to prayer is no. But we hope that we'll be able to say yes to some of the issues that matter a lot and matter the most, people in Santa Rosa County. Representative Andrade, any final comments?
Well, thank you, Senator, for running an incredible meeting this evening. It's been a privilege to attend these delegation meetings over the past 7 years. This is my 8th in Santa Rosa County, my final one. A few notes I wanted to leave you all with here. One, if you've been struggling with your fire districts, encourage them, your elected fire commissioners, to consider something like a rebate if you're concerned about the exemptions that were lost and switched to Avalon. Encourage them not to levy the maximum amounts that they're permitted to by law. As we've seen, as this discussion has continued to grow, local governments oftentimes grow to the size of the fishbowl that they're in. You're going to see an extensive debate in the legislature this coming session, but I do want to leave you with a note of encouragement. Last session and this session, our biggest fights have been over which taxes to cut first. and just how much we should be cutting our budget. I think the state is an incredible example in a time where people are struggling, and my hope is that local governments follow suit. If they don't before this next year, it will create a circumstance where it is more likely than not that that referendum that will, I'm gonna give it 90% odds that it's going to be on the ballot next year to eliminate some portion of property tax, whether it be homestead specific or otherwise. If local governments do not take the same example that the state has set, to actually cut their taxes and not increase them, then they are essentially helping to support the referendum that will be on the ballot next fall to eliminate property taxes. Like I said, it's been a privilege to serve. Representative Boyles, is my first and only delegation meeting with you. I cannot wait to see all the good you do for Santa Rosa County. I'm incredibly proud of you and excited to serve with you in this delegation. Senator Gates, it's always a pleasure to sit near you and to learn from you, and I've appreciated our time together this past session, and I look forward to serving alongside you this coming session.
Thank you very much. Representative Boyles.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll just briefly say, I appreciate all the feedback I've received this evening. To my friends at the fire department here in Santa Rosa County, I've enjoyed the conversation we've had to this point. I look forward, Chief Brown, to additional conversation. We'll get connected and we'll talk through some things. I think it's really important to protect the mission. You got my word that we're going to do that. I think the important baseline really is where your budget was 2 years ago for me, not where it's going to be or would have been this year. That being said, we're going to make sure you've got the resources you need to be successful. I do want to note that, as I've learned, fire departments really are much more than fire departments today, right? I think I hear numbers north of 60% of your calls actually have nothing to do with structures or fires. And so I think it's important to keep that in mind when we talk about where we allocate the cost of those services. And so, to my friends and constituents here in Santa Rosa County, I would just share that we're taking a very measured approach with this issue, and I should really appreciate the support of the members of the delegation here. Some data points just for reference: for a 2,500 square foot home in the Pace Fire District right now, that assessment is $262. In Avalon, it's $388, and in the city of Berkeley, California, it's $294. And so I just really believe strongly in Northwest Florida and our ability to do things better, and I believe that we can. I believe we can provide great public safety protection to our citizens, and I think, frankly, we can do it better than they do it in Berkeley, California. Beyond that, I'll say, Representative Andrade, I'm really looking forward to serving with you and learning from you in your final session in the legislature. It's been an honor and privilege to watch you through the years. Senator is one of my fellow Okaloosa County residents. Obviously, I've been following you since I was a
Easy.
as a high schooler in Baker when you were my school superintendent, and I can tell you that my grandma still has a pair of Gates for Superintendent magnets. Looking forward to serving with you as well, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The final item on the agenda is the selection of a chair for next year's delegation. Nominations are open. I nominate Representative Boyles. Are there other nominations? Seeing no other nominations, nominations will cease. All in favor of Representative Boyles, say aye. Aye. And Representative Boyles, you are now the chairman. And this meeting is adjourned.